Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am just going to jump right into it because I'm still not very good at introductions and sometimes I think they last a little bit too long anyways. So let's get right to it. The whole idea for this video came about from the Margarete Peterson Tarot Guidebook. I was looking at the cards for this deck and I pulled out a couple of them to use on my altar. If you haven't seen it, you should probably check out the video before this one where I talk about different ways to use your decks that are not just for divination. If you don't feel called to divine with the decks anymore, there's some great ways in there for how to do it. But I was doing that with the Margarete Peterson Tarot, and then I was like, let me just read through the guidebook again because I know that there were some poems in this guidebook that I really resonated with and that I felt were really powerful. And it got me thinking about what other guidebooks I felt really drawn to and actually return to and read through either when I'm using the cards or just in general. So this is the guidebook that really started off the glorious guidebooks, and this is really just a little white book. I'll read you two of my favorite kind of poems. So there are poems for each of the major arcana, and then in the court cards, it's as if the card is talking to you and explaining a little bit about them. So for the Mother of Coins, it says, "Mother of Earth I am. My being is defined by growth and decay. My body and my vision are wide awake and present. Life has painted me with fine strokes and woven me into trees, flowers, fruits, plants, animals, and the earth's organism, which brought us all into being. I am the provider of nourishment. I add flesh to bone. When the moon changes, my body responds with red lines. I dwell in the feet, legs, pelvis, belly, organs, sinews, joints, arms, hands, heart, and head. I know the ways, the pulsating circulation of blood, the subtle structure of nerves. You can find me on the marketplace and in all those places where money and goods are exchanged, as well as in the gardens and fields. I know the power of coins. I know both sides, wealth and poverty, abundance and scarcity. I am the one at the cradle, the one centered in herself, the one who nurses. I gather, heal, and enjoy. I influence that which has not yet manifested itself. I am the coiled up serpent at the base of the spine. When the serpent uncoils, the grass trembles. My husband, his physical being not unlike my own, built a boat for me in which to cross the river." So that is how the courts are. And then the numbered cards are similar to that, but not speaking to you as if they are the person. So that actually brought to mind one of these poems from the major arcana. So she said that her husband built her a boat to cross the river. My husband, his physical being not unlike my own, built a boat for me in which to cross the river. And that brought me to mind of this one. So I'll just read The Wheel of Life to you. This is the poem that Margarete Peterson wrote for this card. Wheel of Life. Revolving, not standing still, no beginning, no end. Revolving you can't escape. Revolving, holding on to happiness, holding on to suffering. Lost in the magnetic field of revolving. Round and round you go, wondering why nothing is resolved. When the blindness of love thaws, you regain your sight. Subtle shifts in orbit. You'll find the answer by the river. So it's so interesting that this says you'll find the answer by the river, and she has a boat to cross the river. It's just subtle things like that that really get you thinking. That was one of the poems that actually really stood out to me. Lately, I've been using this kind of for bibliomancy right now because I'm not using the deck, but the book is really feeling very powerful for me. It's giving me a lot of fizz, as Kellyanne Maddox would say. It's just it feels very strong to me right now. Another poem that I really love is The Crone. The Crone is the hermit in this deck. So here's the poem for this one, and then we'll move on to another guidebook. Aging as Spiritual Journey. The soul listening inward through the ear labyrinth, listening to the voice of the heart, the place of knowledge and wisdom. The old traveler on her way to the point of oneness, where she touches the cosmic whole. Wingless flying, straight into the heart. Every step is perfect. I just think that is so powerful. I'm not sure if any of you agree, but oh my goodness. This guidebook and returning to it has just really been very powerful in my spiritual practice right now. So that was the Margarete Peterson Tarot guidebook. The Witch's Wisdom Tarot guidebook is another one that I love to use and feel very drawn to. I think for the rest of these decks, what I'm going to do is pull a card from the deck and read from the guidebook from that section so that you can get a feel for it. So it gives you a ton of different ways to connect with the cards. There's lots of ways. It has kind of some ways that you can honor your deck and there's like guided visualization, which is kind of like pathworking a little bit. There's journeying practice, meditation. Let's pull a card from the Witch's Wisdom Tarot and read from the guidebook. I love the inside of this box because it says, magic feather, song and air, awaken, inspire, and make aware. Magic of claw, hearth, and fire, warm, enliven, and inspire. Magic of fin, womb, and water, love and dreams conjure. Magic of fur, seed, and earth, embody, nourish, and give birth. Magic within and around, awaken, spirits, answers, and guidance taken. Ask your question, shuffle the cards, open the book, and take a look. Spirits hear what's in your heart and answers with love, wisdom, and art. So, right off the bat, I just love that. Let's pull a card. I'm just going to shuffle pretty quickly and we'll just pull a card. I haven't used this deck in a while, so it's fine. And we're only going to do one card anyways. All right, we have a jumper, so I'm just going to use that one. We have the Six of Air. So then we go to air, and air is the first suit in this deck. So here's the page for the Six of Air, and it starts with wisdom, where it talks about the kind of imagery on the card and walks you through it a little bit. And then it has the essence, so that's the kind of keywords where it really gets to the core of what this card is about. Then counsel, where it gives you some guidance. And that's where you can kind of get a message if you're asking for one. And then magic gives you something that you can do physically to kind of embody the energy of the card. So I will hold this up a little bit while I read the image, the wisdom part, and then we'll continue on. Where water and air meet, two swans preside, creatures of the wing equally at home where they must swim. Messengers of the goddess, they carry missives and prayers between the worlds. Safe between the devoted pair, their four signets swim. Love created them, protects and nourishes them, teaches them to swim and fly. But a fox waits upon the shore. If they take to the land before maturity, they could become prey. This does not make the fox evil. Fox and swan are equal parts of Mother Earth's law of balance. All of creation is held in the right measure for life to flourish. So it was talking about the fox on land over here, and then you have the swans and their babies in the kind of protection of the water. And it's a little bit foggy and stuff like that. So the essence of the card is divine communication, development, useful limits, and danger for the unprepared. And then the counsel would be, open your heart to the goddess and attend to the messages she's sending you. Take pride in your spirituality, trust your intuition, honor your dreams, but don't rush into things you're not ready for, and don't despair if your efforts don't succeed. Allow yourself time to grow. Cultivate your skills, your wisdom, your heart. Nurture your dreams. When you're ready, the universe will offer you the opportunities for which you've prepared. And then the magic is practice folding an origami swan. Write a prayer to the goddess. Find a body of water where there are water birds. Read your prayer aloud. Fold the paper into the swan. Hold it to your heart. When you're ready, float it on the water. It will carry your prayer to the goddess. Offer bread or birdseed. I don't think that I would offer bread because I know that bread is not good at all for birds. So I don't recommend offering bread, but I think birdseed, bringing that would be a great idea. Also, if you're going to do this, make sure to do a little bit of research to see about the chemicals and stuff that are in the ink for the pen you use, or use maybe a pencil instead, and try and use the most natural paper you can too, just so that it doesn't contaminate or pollute the earth. So that was the Witch's Wisdom Tarot Guidebook. I love it. It gives you that same thing for all of the cards. The wisdom is a lot longer in the majors, the council, everything is longer for the majors, but I mean, that makes sense. Moving right along, the Brady Tarot. I'm not sure you can see this just because it's the lighting. Oh, there we go. The Brady Tarot guidebook is incredible. I mean, the Brady Tarot in general is incredible, but the guidebook is really great as well. So the guidebook was written by Rachel Pollack, but the art and everything came from Emmy Brady. Let's shuffle a card and get into it. The gilding on this deck is also beautiful. All right. The Hanged One came out for us. So I like to mark, I don't know if you saw this on the other ones, but I like to mark where the major arcana, the fire, water, air, and earth cards are, just so that it's easier to flip to those. And let's get to the Hanged One. I just passed it. Okay. This guidebook is incredible. It gives you information about the animals, and this is just such a well-researched deck. It's incredible. So the part in italics is just the keywords, and then it gets into it. So the Hanged One. Attachment to life, to deeper values, independence from society's opinions, reversal of previous ways, surrender, vulnerability, openness. Card 12, usually called the Hanged Man and showing a young man hanging upside down by one foot, has a curious history. Many have seen it in a negative way, as painful sacrifice or being stuck. The original image may derive from Renaissance Italy shame paintings, usually done on walls like graffiti. This is because in Italian tradition, traitors were hanged upside down, so a drawing of someone in that posture was a condemnation. And yet, in many modern decks, the card takes on a joyous quality of spiritual surrender. In the Rider deck, golden light fills the hanged man's face. In the Heimdall Tarot, an important inspiration for Emmy, the god Odin joyously surrenders to Mother Earth. The Brady Tarot Hanged One strongly evokes this modern tradition. we see a mother possum hanging by her tail from a branch above a rushing river, symbol of the constant movement of life. Through attachment to the rooted values of the forest and the cycles of nature, she avoids being swept away. Though her open posture exposes her pouch, she remains tranquil, even joyous, like the wonderful possum in the Ten of Arrows. Where the rider figure's face shines with the mystic, angelic light, here the brightness comes from a ring of fireflies who circle her arms and head. Their brightness extends to the fur on her body so that her whole being is in the light, not just her head. Above her, on either side, nuthatches perch upside down on branches like woodpeckers. Nuthatches forage for invertebrate in or on the trunks of trees. Because they hang upside down, they eat what the woodpeckers miss. So the nuthatches also hang upside down. This one I absolutely love. I think this is a great way to learn about the different animals that we in North America may encounter. So that is the Brady Tarot. Another guidebook I absolutely love, just for its sheer informative aspect. Another guidebook that I love is the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit guidebook by Kim Krans. This was actually my first oracle deck. Let's do a quick shuffle. Okay, we got beaver. And this deck is divided up into suits based on water, earth, air, fire. So I actually wrote them out here. They're not in alphabetical order or anything like that. So let's see. Beaver is 100. So for this guidebook, you have the keywords, you have information about this kind of animal archetype, and then you have what it looks like when it's in balance, what it looks like when the animal and energy is out of balance, and how to bring that energy back into balance. Beaver. Hard worker, loyal, tireless, family first. The beaver personality is a welcomed sight. These good-natured and dependable creatures have infinite love and enthusiasm for family and express it by way of the earth element, providing a home, financial stability. Although a beaver doesn't usually initiate a project, once started, they'll work steadily for weeks, months, or years to see it through. The beaver card appears when the task at hand requires your long-term steady effort. It can also signify that it's time for some karma yoga, selfless service. When in balance, the beaver and energy is happy, meaningful work. When out of balance, you may feel useless, worn out. This could also be burnout. To bring it back into balance, you're given two different physical activities. So it's physical labor or selfless service, which could be the karmic yoga or taking care of your family or anything like that. Some of the other bring into balances: finish a project, yin yoga, a cozy home, good food. I love this guidebook. I think that giving you something physical to help bring the energy back into alignment instead of just saying, oh, like, your energy's out of alignment, but there's nothing you can do, SOL, like, you have to figure it out. But having that information and giving you something physical that you can actually do to shake up the energy that's feeling stagnant is very helpful. Another one that I really enjoy is the Children of Litha Tarot Guidebook. This deck has such beautiful cards. It's got my favorite judgment card of all time. But let's shuffle and pull a card. This is that rose petal finish on the card, so it is a little bit sticky at times. Okay, we got the moon. Wow, and I turned right to it. Okay, so for this guidebook, you get a poem for the card, and then some information about it, and then upright and reversed meanings. So you get that for all of them. I think every single card, even the minor arcana, have poems. They're just a little bit smaller. The moon's poem is, "The milk light of moon reveals that which we fear. Her shadows are tricky and their purpose unclear. The moon summons up that which we dream, but the shadows it casts hide what needs to be seen. Its inky blackness may hide the key, but in releasing our demons, we set our inner self free." The moon is an intuitive card of ever-changing temperaments, much like the tide it controls. Although it can have a calming or dreamlike quality, it is also associated with anxiety and illusion. This is indicated by the duality between the peaceful dragon and the ominous shadowy wolves lurking all around her. Peaceful dragon, and then all the wolves in the shadows. This is because while the shadows cast by the moon may be a call for serenity, the upright position distorts the lines between illusion and reality, driving one to panic and paranoia. So I don't really use the keywords. I also don't use reversals, so I think that's part of it, but there's just so many, and I think that the poem and the little blurb right here get to the heart of the matter anyways. I don't feel the need to use these keywords in my practice. The poetry and this is what really makes this guidebook feel very powerful to me. The next is the Elemental Power Tarot guidebook, and this is the guidebook that I actually got my Celtic Cross spread from. And so you have a full page for the majors, and then you just have a little bit for each of the minors. Let's pull a card and see what we get. This cardstock is a bit papery, and I know that a lot of people had problems with it. I love the way that it feels. It smells delicious too. Yeah, it's a little bit flimsier, but I don't think that it's not gonna hold up. I think that this deck will be fine. Okay. We got the Knight of Earth. So this is Fire of Earth. So you get the title of the card, you get what the element is. So it's Fire of Earth for the court cards. And then you get kind of the title for it. So we have the Knight of Coins, Fire of Earth, the Champion of Formation. You have guidance and challenge. So the guidance is, you are longing to get something tangible out into the world, something symbolic of your passions, a stake in the ground to mark how far you've come and where you're going. This is a great time to find the core of your grand project of life and to express it in a form that others can see and understand. What can you make that can carry your will forward without needing you there to explain it? You don't need to build a sphinx, but using it as inspiration wouldn't hurt. And then the challenge. In your haste to offer something to the world, you may push yourself too hard and overlook little details that make a huge difference. Use that urgency to push your motivation, not your process. It seems like the challenge isn't when this card comes up reversed, this is the meaning. This is something you should keep in mind in addition to the guidance. For the major arcana, you get a little mini blurb, then you have what you're seeing in the card, and then the guidance, the challenges, and then the apothecary, what is new. The Fool is, step forward into the unknown with full trust that the universe will show up to support you. You stand on the edge of a great cliff, suspended in time between yesterday and tomorrow. Senses far beyond sight, touch, hearing, taste, and smell assure you there is nothing to fear and nothing to mourn. Though the terrain beyond the cliff's edge is obscured, you know in the depth of your being that it is safe to step forward. A small dog smiles in agreement. Guidance. The gift of radical presence is offered to you now. Accept it by seeking to be carefree but not frivolous, trusting but not naive. By existing completely in the here and now without expectation of the future or attachment to the past, you can walk in harmony with the divine. Loosen your grip, Throw out the map and focus on putting one foot in front of the other. You may be surprised by who and what appears to support you and encourage you when you lift your gaze away from the blueprint you've so carefully created and allow the present to unfold naturally before you. Enjoy the moment and stay open to all possibilities. Only by relinquishing control can you access the great power of the universe. The challenge: our day-to-day lives require preparation, planning, and routine, making this energy potentially frustrating, particularly during times that seem to demand strategy and imminent action. Remain centered in the present and practice patience. Focus on your breath. And then for the apothecary, it's bergamot. And it says, bergamot promotes joy and soothes stress. It's known and easiest to come by as the citrus note of Earl Grey tea. If caffeine provokes anxiety, drink a decaf version. So this apothecary gives you the herb or the plant, and then it also gives you a way to interact with that plant and how to connect that to the energy of the tarot card. This is a guidebook that I really love and used all the time with this deck. It helped kind of give me more information about how to read numerologically, because this is a pip deck. There are 0 people in these cards, so that you can see yourself and you are standing right outside of this card, and you can just step right into it and become that energy. And last but not least, I mean, would this even be one of my videos if I didn't include the Herbcrafters in some shape or form? I adore this guidebook, and we will get into it as soon as we pull a card. So for this deck, you get the title of the card, you get the plant, you get its Latin name, and then you get 3 key sentences, and then it describes the image that you're seeing on the deck and kind of then goes into the energy of the deck and then crafting with it. So these are 3 different physical things you can do to connect with the energy of the card. So strength, it's garlic, and that's allium sativum. Lead with a bold, kind heart. Gentle healing builds resilience. Power sweetened is strength unmatched. A braided cluster of purple garlic rests on a cloth made of natural fibers. Roses from a nearby vase begin to dry, and the petals have fallen on the table. Golden liquid seeps from a heart-shaped honeycomb into a wooden board. Greenscapes folded into their lemniscate shape surround a pot of garlic cloves submerged in honey. So these are the scapes, and these are what the garlic forms when it's going to flower, but you need to pick these off in order for the actual cloves to grow and become big and bulbous. And then this is the garlic in the honey, and the honey, which is the heart-shaped comb, which I feel like the heart shape is upside down, but I think that's fine. So that was describing the card, and then you get the energy. Courage dwells in soft spirit. Meet adversity with inner fire. Garlic strengthens the heart and increases stamina. You have the power to persevere. Cultivate reliable habits that enhance vitality. Planting garlic around the roots of roses strengthens the leaves, encouraging more flowers to bloom. Cooking with garlic daily boosts the immune system, protecting against illness. Drinking garlic tea heats up the body, igniting passion. Step into your power, but remember, a compassionate approach is powerful. Adding honey to garlic tames the medicine, making it more effective and palatable. Embrace both the gentle and the wild within. And then for crafting with garlic, we have 3 different ways to connect with it. So the first one is wear a garlic amulet to remind you to be bold. Let it hang just over your heart. The next one is cook meals rich with garlic to strengthen your body and prepare for difficult times ahead. And the third is sweeten intensity and conflict. Make immune-boosting garlic honey. Take it before challenging encounters. In the back of the deck, because it does talk about different ways to use them. So you can create tinctures and salves and all of that stuff. It actually talks about what they are here. It gives you a little snippet of what each thing is. So what an elixir is, what flower essence is, how to make the infused honey, incense, kombucha, pesto. So it gives you information about all of these. Like here is a scrubs. So combine 1 cup of salt or water, 1/4 cup of herb infused oil, 2 teaspoons of dried and ground herbs, 2 tablespoons of honey, and if you wish, 10 to 15 drops of essential oil in a bowl. Mix thoroughly. So it gives you little bits of information about all of them, and then it says this is just kind of a snippet, but do your research to make sure you're doing it all safely and stuff like that. It also gives different resources to consult and kind of the bibliography of what was mentioned here, and where to go for more information about the herbs and herb crafting in general. There is definitely a running theme when it comes to my guidebooks. There are 3 things that I think that I really am called to when it comes to guidebooks. I like to have tangible physical things or activities given to me that I can channel the energy of the card, or ways to connect by making something or drinking something or anything like that. I also am very drawn to the poetry aspect. So flowery language is another thing that I just feel so pulled into. And if there is a poem in a guidebook, you know that it's something that I will be drawn to and gravitate towards, of course. I think the last element in what, in my opinion, makes a great guidebook is the information. So it gives you a little bit of information describing the card and also goes in depth on the feeling. So it's not just listing out the upright and reversal like meanings in bullet points. It's this is the imagery on the card, this is why it was chosen, and this is how it connects to that energy. So I think that that's it for now. These have been my glorious guidebooks that I just absolutely adore and feel a strong attachment to, almost as strong as an attachment to the decks that they come with. So I think that's it. If you all have some guidebooks that you really want to praise and give some love and attention to, please do a VR to this video or let me know in the comments what guidebooks you are really enjoying right now or have always enjoyed or have helped kind of shape the way that you view tarot in general, because I think all of these guidebooks have added bits to how I read my cards. I think that's about it for right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see some responses to this video.